Hello friends. Currently I'm about to explain an Indian movie called Teri Zameen Bar. So grab your snacks and enjoy. The movie begins with Ishaan, a 9-year-old boy fishing for small fish at a pond outside the school. The bus driver approaches from behind and grabs him by the shirt because he had wasted 10 minutes waiting for him. When he arrives home later, he throws his report card for the dogs to destroy so he won't have to show it to his parents. After making sure the paper was destroyed, the kid runs inside and rushes to put the fish he has collected into the fish pot on top of the refrigerator. Ishaan goes to his room and begins to put together a puzzle while snacking. His brother Johan returns from school and tells his mother that he received the highest mark in the class. The woman is happy for her older son and asks about her youngest kid's report card before Ishaan exits the room and heads outside to watch his neighbors play. The boys throw the ball away and ask Ishaan to fetch it. The boy goes to collect the ball, but when he tries to throw it back onto the field it ends up falling on the other side of the wall. Ishaan is attacked by one of his neighbors, Ranjit. He knocks Ishaan's head to the ground and tries to twist his arm. To defend himself, Ishaan bites Ranjit and he finally let him go. Ishaan runs onto the terrace and starts to cry but soon begins playing with a kite he finds lying there. Later when he gets home, he finds Ranjit and his mother complaining to his parents and accusing Ishaan of starting the fight. Ishaan's father strikes him across the face. Ishaan attacks Ranjit after making false accusations, and their parents are forced to separate them. As Ranjit and his mother depart, Ishaan's father Nankishore warns him that if he receives any additional complaints, he will send him to boarding school. After hearing his father's warning, Ishaan's mother kneels in front of her son and starts to tend to his wounds, pleading with her son not to annoy his father again. The next day at school, Ishaan's English teacher Irene asks him to read a line from the book. He struggles to understand the letters, making it tough for him to read it, but his teachers misunderstand this for being a brat. She keeps telling him to read, and when he yells funny words she throws him out of the class. Ishaan hadn't finished his math assignment that day. In order to avoid the math teacher he escapes from school and spends the entire day walking the streets. He enjoys the day by learning some jobs done by the people that he never heard of, buying ice cream and counting passengers. By the end of the day, he waits for his classmates inside the school bus and goes home without anyone noticing his absence. At home we see him create a lovely painting because he enjoys and is talented at drawing. Afterwards, his mother Maya makes him do his homework. She observes that he has terrible handwriting, and he barely ever spells anything correctly. She scolds him like everyone else. The next day Ishaan must submit an absence note to his teacher. He asks his brother to write the note for him out of fear of getting into trouble. Johan makes him promise he will never skip school again and writes the note. He gives it to his teacher, who accepts it as real. He also pretends to cough to make it seem like he was actually sick. That day, the math teacher surprises the kids with a test. Ishaan is given the test paper. In the first question he is asked to multiply 3 by 9. He begins to daydream about him being a space pilot and his mission is to take the third planet of the solar system, Earth, and drop it in the position of the 9th planet Pluto. By doing that, Pluto is destroyed and the Earth is unharmed, thus the boy concludes that the answer is 3. He submits the test leaving the rest of the questions unanswered. When asked by his friends, he confidently claims that he enjoyed the test. Nankishore returns from a business trip the following day. Ishaan is happy to see his father again and gives him a warm hug. Nankishore, however, discovers the false absence note from the previous day while Ishaan is eating breakfast. During further investigation, he learns that Ishaan left school and was walking the streets by himself. After receiving a severe scolding from his father, the parents visit his teachers and principal, who both criticize his behaviors in class. Also, they learn about the results of the most recent maths exam. The principal supposes Ishaan is a special child who needs to be sent to school for disabled children. Nankishore finds the idea of his son having a disability unacceptable. So he decided to take him to a boarding school. Ishaan has a dream about his mother being lost in a crowd, and he wakes up screaming from it. He vows to work more on his studies if they allow him to stay at home after she tries to comfort him. Maya finds this to be heartbreaking, but Nankishore is firm about his decision. Finally, the day arrives when Ishaan is sent to the boarding school. He will only be permitted to see his family once a month and will be required to live in a dormitory with other kids. He is welcomed by the hostel warden, who informs him that his past behavior won't be accepted here. With sorrowful hearts, the family departs. Ishaan quietly stands by and sobs as their car drives away. Even after the car is out of his sight, he continues to stand there for a while. When it gets dark, he enters the hostel while still weeping. He barely eats dinner and doesn't interact with anyone. At night when he can't sleep, he goes to the restroom and sobs softly. Meantime, Maya arrives at her house and looks through Ishaan's possessions. She is shocked to discover a flipbook showing him being removed from his family. She is heartbroken by the book. While in the hostel, Ishaan finds it difficult to carry out daily tasks including tying his tie. On his first day, Mr. Tiwari, the Hindi teacher, forces him to sit on the first seat with Rajan, the class topper. The teachers soon realize that Ishaan isn't normal. In class, he rarely pays attention. During the art class, the child is watching some birds through the window. The teacher throws a piece of chalk at his head and orders Ishaan to go to his desk. He physically punished him. The boy also gets into trouble in English class, as the teacher is teaching. Ishaan sees that the words on the board are dancing. After hearing his teachers call him stupid so many times, the boy starts to believe it is all true. This leads him to tear up his books and throw them in the trash. His thoughts, which once gave him the ability to travel through space, starts to create horrific monsters that scares him. After all this, depression strikes him. After a month, when his parents finally came to meet him, he locks himself in the hostel and starts sobbing. He then exits the room and runs around the basketball court many times. To give him a break from his life at the hostel, the family brings him into a hotel for the night. Johan attempts to cheer him up by giving him a set of 24 paint colors because he knows that his brother loves painting, but this doesn't cheer him up. On Sunday evening, when his parents take him back to the boarding school, Ishaan doesn't shed tears despite the fact that he is terribly upset. The following morning, his friend Rajan sees him hanging from a terrace. Terrified, the child urges him to go down from there but ends up falling. When Ishaan comes to assist him, the boy tells him about the new art teacher Ram. As the kids are all gathered in the classroom waiting for the new teacher to arrive, the kids hear a flute sound and they immediately begin looking for the source of the noise. Ram shows up for class dressed as a joker. In contrast to all other teachers, he sings a song, plays the flute, makes them dance, and lets them enjoy the class. The depressed Ishaan doesn't take part in any of it. The kids' first assignment is to draw or paint anything they wish. Ram wants them to express their creative side so he can plan his next project. Ishaan doesn't even touch the paper as the kids begin to draw different things that are all distinct from one another. Ram initially thinks the child is taking time to think, but Ishaan's paper is still blank when class is over. Ram, who is worried, questions him what the issue is but receives no response. Ishaan's mother calls him that evening to let him know she won't be able to pick him up on Saturday because Johan will be competing in the tennis competition finals. The mother tries to apologize, but the child simply puts the phone down and walks away without saying a word. The following morning, Ram sees Ishaan kneeling down outside the classroom. Surprised by his behavior, he asks Rajan about him. Rajan explains that Ishaan has difficulty understanding letters regardless of how hard he tries. Ram has a keen eye for kids who are special because he works in a school for disabled kids. He searches through his past notebooks to learn more about Ishaan and discovers a pattern of mistakes that he frequently made. Ram heads to the special kids school where he has been working for few years. Even while teaching the special children, he cannot stop thinking of Ishaan. Jabin, his coworker, sits next to him and asks him why his eyes are full of tears. Then Ram says that after so many years he came across himself as a child. He used to have the same problem in his childhood, so he feels sympathetic to the kid. He tells her that the kid needs help. He decides to go to his parents' house that evening and they welcome him. While looking through Ishaan's old notebooks, Ram discovers a drawing and is shocked to learn that the boy is a talented painter. Maya then takes him to Ishaan's room to show him some of her son's paintings. Ram later finds the flipbook where Ishaan drew the moment he was separated from his family. When Ram questions the parents about why they enrolled their son in a boarding school, Nankishore responds that it was their only choice because Ishaan had failed the previous year and was not trying to do better. Nankishore belittles his son, saying that he despises learning and is lazy. In response, Ram demonstrates to them the pattern in Ishaan's mistakes. He often inverts the letters as if he has difficulty differentiating them. However, the father still associates it to laziness, but Ram says clearly that he is mistaken. He claims that Ishaan suffers from a neurological disorder called dyslexia that makes it difficult for him to understand certain patterns, such as letters and words. He also struggles with coordination, which prevents him from buttoning his shirt or tying his laces. The young child must have been in horrible pain because no one recognized his inability to read and concluded he was just being lazy. Nankishore thinks Ram is calling his son a mentally ill and shouts at him. To make him understand, Ram asks him to read foreign letters written on a box. Nankishore finally understands what his child may be going through when he gets reprimanded for not understanding the letters. Still, he chooses to ignore that his son can make a living out of his only passion, painting. Ram is determined to prove him wrong. Frustrated, Ram leaves and with Maya's permission he takes the boy's notebook. The next day, before class starts, he shows Ishaan his flipbook. He then begins to tell the whole class the story of a boy who could not read and people called him lazy until one day he presented his theory that changed the world. At the end of the story, Ram asks if the students know who this boy is. Ishaan believes that he is talking about him, but when the teacher shows a picture of Albert Einstein he is surprised. Then he tells the children about some famous persons who weren't good at reading and writing when they were kids. He gives example of an Indian actor. When Ram asks them who invented the light bulb, Ishaan answers, Thomas Edison. This makes Ishaan feel a lot better about himself. The teacher suggests that they create something unique out of anything, even trash. He then asks the students to gather around the pond and keeps Ishaan back to talk with him. Ram tells the boy that when he was a kid he couldn't read or write and his father assumed he didn't want to study, but Ram proved him wrong and went on to become a teacher. Minutes later, at the edge of the pond, Ishaan made a boat that can move on its own, using sticks, rubber and leaves. His teacher is proud and he takes it home and keeps it as a decoration. Ram visits the school's principal one day and informs him of Ishaan's issue. Ram is certain that Ishaan can succeed in school among the usual students, despite the principal's suggestion that they send him to a school for kids with special needs. He shows the principal some of the boy's paintings. He suggests that the teachers to help the boy overcome his problems. When the principal says it is not possible, Ram offers to teach Ishaan every day after school. The principal allows it for the sake of the child. The following day, Ram begins teaching Ishaan how to distinguish between the alphabet's letters using a variety of creative ways. They learn using sandboxes, Play-Doh and sensory methods. Ram teaches him how to spell as well. Ishaan learns Hindi with the help of audiobooks and maths with numbers written on the stairs. In just a few weeks, he starts to understand the letters that his other teachers had been unable to teach him for years. While Ram was teaching another class, Nankishore visits the school to speak with him and brag about how they are doing more study on their son's condition. When Ram asked why he was telling him, Nankishore replies that he wants the teacher to know that he is a caring parent and is proud of who he is. Ram claims that what makes a father caring is showing some love and affection to his child and supporting the child when in need. Ram blames the father for being the reason the kid was stressed. Nandkishore couldn't deny, and on his way out, he sees Ishaan trying to read from the notice board. Feeling guilty, the father does not have the courage to approach the boy. The next morning at dawn, while everyone is asleep, Ishaan wakes up and gets ready to go to the pond to watch the sunrise. A few hours later, the students gather in the amphitheater to take part in the competition. Even the principal show up at the event. Ram asks Rajan where Ishaan is, but the boy tells him that he's left before his classmates woke up. This news makes the teacher worried, but since he can't look for the boy, he decides to wait for him. The other teachers also show up to participate in the event and are shocked to see the funny pictures made of them by the students. Ram's teacher also come to the event to judge the competition. Soon the competition starts while Ram is still worried for the boy. Suddenly Ishaan arrives at the event and the teacher hands him a blank paper. Ishaan looks for a more suitable place to sit to create his painting. Now that Ram is relieved, he begins making his painting. By the end of it, Ishaan creates a beautiful painting of himself sitting by the pond. He goes to the front to submit the painting and is surprised to see that Ram has painted a portrait of him with happy face. The principal announced that the winning painting will be on the cover page of their textbook. He also says that it was difficult to choose the winner because two paintings had a tie. Ram's and Ishaan's. In the end, Ishaan is declared the winner while the second prize goes to Ram. The crowd is happy and cheers for Ishaan. For the first time in his life, Ishaan feels recognized for his talent. He cannot help but cry and runs to his teacher to hug him. In the closing scene, Ishaan's parents come to the school for the end-of-the-year parent-teacher meeting. The principal is happy about Ishaan's talent, showing them his painting and Ram's painting on the cover page of their textbook. The parents are shocked. Ram receives praise from the principal for doing a brilliant job of training the pupil in the manner in which he required it. The parents later meet Ishaan's teachers, who show them the report card and compliment the kid's undeniable progress. The pair sheds tears of joy as they watch their son play outside. Nandkishore expresses gratitude to Ram for helping Ishaan and regrets his actions. Ram then says goodbye to Ishaan and says that he will miss him. The kid then follows his family to the car, but before getting in the car he runs back to his teacher's arms. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Movie Retold channel for more videos like this.